Hey, did you know that there's two types of people in the world? There are people who are happy, and there are people who still own an Xbox Kinect. Luckily for you, I decided to combine these two people into one glorious bad idea. Today we are modding the Kinect to play Final Fantasy XIV with motion controls. And yet again, I'm surprised that this actually just works. So let's put on your cowboy boots and line up for a quick rundown of the controller mod. In 14, there's a class called Dancer, which you can probably tell uses dances to fight. I made the Xbox Kinect capture my dance moves and send those inputs into 14. Each of the Dancer's dance steps have a unique motion controls mapped to it, so I literally have to dance to give my party buffs. Once I start my dance, I have to follow the instructions on my step gauge in order to complete the dance. Overall, the controller was a ton of fun to pull off, and I actually felt like a novice dancer. And before we continue the video, I need to remind everyone that this is not a Final Fantasy XIV mod. I'm using the Kinect to send keyboard inputs to the game, and it does not affect the game's files at all. Speaking of the Kinect, let's talk about how this mod works. For those who are lucky enough to not know about the Kinect, here's a quick refresher. In 2020, Microsoft tried to join the motion controls roulette queue with their own DPS class called the Kinect. The Kinect was unique because it was able to track the entire body for motion controls. The controller itself was actually way ahead of its time, and it was even used for 3D scanning and augmented reality. Sadly, just like DPS queues, the Kinect took way too long to catch on in the market. It was finally discontinued in 2017, and sadly we'll probably never see it again. On the bright side, I still own one, and I found it a new home in 14. There are a few things we need to figure out to make this Kinect work for the Dancer class. First, we need to figure out how to connect this Kinect, say that 3 times fast, to my PC. After that, we need to figure out how to program my dance moves into the Kinect. To get my Kinect working on 14, I used a PC adapter along with some software called Fast. Fast makes it really easy to track my body movement and convert those inputs into keyboard inputs. For example, let's say I wanted to do a dab in order to start my dance steps. With Fast, I can actually track my elbow placement and do some math to have the Kinect detect my dab. To perform a dab, I had to check to see if my right elbow was flexed about 60 degrees in front of my face. While bending my elbow, I also need to check to see if my left arm is straight and above my torso by at least 12 inches. We can go more into detail about the programming, but I might have been the first person ever to make dabbing into an actual controller. Now that we have a way to play 14 with the Kinect, up next I need to learn how to dance. And y'all, I had to learn how to dance today. For those who don't play Dancer, here's a quick rundown on how the class works. To start giving buffs by dancing, you first have to activate the standard step ability. This will give you random dance steps that you need to complete before finishing the dance. Once you follow those dance steps, the dance is complete and you give a buff to your party members. My first goal of the mod was to map the motion controls as close as possible to the motions of the dance steps in the game. However, after seeing each dance step and realizing my back isn't getting any younger, I had to take some creative liberties and make sure I didn't need to be raised mid-dance. The plan now is to create one motion control per dance step and string them together to finish the dancing game. I did mention earlier I was able to detect a dab through the Kinect, so I decided to make dabbing my standard step ability so every dance will always start off and end with a dab. With that done, now we can start building each dance step, starting off with the skill Ambuante. Or is it Ambuante? Well, whatever the red skill is, man. I'm a Texan, I can't even do math right, okay? This dance throws your hands over your head with a little bit of footwork. For this motion, I made the Kinect detect when both my left and right wrists were above my torso by at least a foot. I also checked to see if my arms were slightly bent, which matched the motion of the dance step pretty okay if I say so myself. The next ability is Entrechat, and it was actually really easy to program for. For this dance step, I made the Kinect detect where my hands were in relation to my torso. If my right hand was really close to my torso and my left hand was over my head, the dance step will be performed. I felt really proud of this motion because it felt very close to the way it works in 14. The next ability is Jeté, and I'm way too old for this motion, so I came up with another solution. I decided to go with the Carlton dance for this dance step because it wasn't too hard to program in. For this one, I had the Kinect detect the latter half of the dance, in which my right hand is close to my face while my left hand is right next to my torso. There was also a little bit of math involved to determine the angle in which my arms would bend for the Carlton dance. To say I didn't have any fun with this dance step would be a complete lie. And last but not least, we have to program the final dance step called, yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this one, y'all. At least this dance step is a simple spin, so I can do that in real life. However, the Kinect had a really hard time tracking my body spinning. I don't know if it's just bad programming on my side or the body tracking isn't as good as I thought it would be, but the spinning motion wasn't consistent enough for me to put it into the controller, so I came up with another dance to replace it. Instead of just spinning, I decided to use Johnny Bravo's Do the Monkey dance for this one, which was really easy to set up as I had the Kinect detect when my arms were apart from each other vertically by at least 2 feet, which can only be done if I'm literally doing the monkey. With all the programming done, we can now play Dancer by literally dancing. Here's what a technical dance looks like when I do all the motions together. There we go. That was pretty good. Y'all, I don't think I can ever go back to playing Dancer normally again. At the time of recording, my Dancer is level 62, so I only have 2 dance steps in my rotation. So here's what it looks like when I do my standard step rotation. There you go, easy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having way too much fun with this controller. Alright, now that my cowboy boots are warmed up, let's do the ultimate test for the Kinect mod. We're about to square dance live in some trials and dungeons. It's finally time for some gameplay, and ooh boy, I wonder if my party members will know what I'm doing. I decided to start off with a trial because with 3 other DPSs, no one will see me mess up my square dancing. For my first trial as a dancer, I almost forgot to dance. Is that how you square dance? I haven't. Oh. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? 1 second, yo, 1 second. Wait. Okay, we gotta go. However, you'll notice one downside about the Kinect immediately during the boss fight. In order to activate my Kinect, I need to stand away from my keyboard in T-pose. The activation does take some time, and without a way to move, I'm kind of a sitting duck waiting to dab. So if there's an AoE underneath me during a dance segment, silly things like this can happen. Oh shit! You didn't see that? You didn't see that? Okay, we're good, we're good. What? Not again! This does make 14 feel a bit more realistic for having me take time out of my DPSing to set up my dance. And honestly, doing the Carlton on King Thornton will never get old to me. I was able to manage fighting and dancing just fine, and we cleared Thornton without any deaths. To finish off my testing, I wanted to see how the Dancer controller worked in a dungeon. Thank the primals that my tank wanted to do small pulls because I was getting tired after dancing for 2 hours straight. And just like the trial, the controller worked just fine. When there was free time, I was able to step back and get my dance ready. If there wasn't a safe time to dance, I would just switch over to my DPS rotations. Sometimes the Kinect did take a little bit longer to detect me, which kinda sucks. Remember, whenever I try to dance, I can't move, so I lost some time DPSing to my Kinect. In a future version of this build, I'll add a Joy-Con or something so I can move without my keyboard. But every time I got hit by an AoE, I just felt like I belonged in the Extremely Goofy movie. On the bright side, like the trial, the dungeon went just fine and no one committed life insurance fraud. I really felt like I was a novice dancer just trying to learn my job. If you want to see more gameplay, you can go to my Twitch channel where I did this for almost 3 hours straight. However, it's finally time for me to give a review for this build. Y'all, what a controller build, huh? If you made it this far into the video, thank you, it really means a ton to me. After playing Dancer with motion controls, I don't think I can ever go back to just keyboard and mouse. Shoot, I might even do this until my Dancer gets to level 80. This was a very fun workout and my face still hurts from smiling so much because of all the support y'all gave me. But now that I finished the Dancer controller, what class do I make a controller for next? I do have a Buster Sword build in the works, but that might take a couple more weeks to finish. Maybe I should turn Final Fantasy XIV into an exercise game. I wonder what 14 would look like if I combined it with Ring Fit Adventure. Well, there's only one way to find out.